Hey, good morning, guys. Goose here. Welcome to STN Stock Talk with Ricky and myself. What are we at, Thursday? All right, good week we got going on so far, guys. Hope you guys have been trading safe and smart with this market volatility, and looking forward to a super day ahead. I know Ricky's got some gems on his plate today, so I'm excited to hear that. I just want to remind you guys, hopefully you come over and check us out at stocktraders.net. Listen, we got a free trading floor. You don't need to pay for anything. Just come over there, come check us out, start communicating with the community there, send any of the instructors, any type of messages you want. And we also have a free trial in our premium section, which has a screen share, the turbo scan, all kinds of cool widgets and webinars and stuff like that. So, if you want to even check that out, we welcome that as well. So, want to remind you guys, nothing that we're covering in the morning is any type of solicitation. We just do a little research. We're trying to give you our thoughts, technically, fundamentally on some of these ideas that are out there. You guys do your own homework. Make sure you're trading your own plans. Like Ricky always says, trade your plan. So with that being said, read the disclaimer below, and I'm going to turn it right over to Ricky. I know he's got some great stuff to talk about. So over to you, Ricky.
Hey, I'm the man with the plan. It's Ricky Analog here, guys. Welcome to StockTraders.net Stock Talk. So I just want to point out some things on the horizon, guys. Tron is ready for beta testing. It's big. It's going to be a game changer. It's going to teach the community as a whole how to take trades and remain emotionless with actual capital on the line. You guys really, really can't miss out on this. If not only for the prize alone, a trip to Scotland to ride in a supercar with Monaco Trader, man, it's going to be amazing. Not only that, we got discounts on Trade the News, widgets that you ain't going to find anywhere else, like Turbo Scan. I'm telling you guys, you're missing out if you're not over at StockTraders.net. And I'm going to go over some names, and we already went over them in the premium room, or as of right now, it's the freemium room. Come over and try this out for 3 days free and see what we're actually doing. But I was in there live pre-market, and we were tearing some of these names apart. And I'm going to show you guys some of the things we went over in there that those guys are already on. And so let's get right into it. Pulling up my charts. First thing I'm looking at, guys, is APOG. So it's we kind of have a bit of an earnings miss here. They beat on earnings per share, but they missed on the revs, and they also kind of are missing a bit on the guidance. The one thing I'll point out is that based on, you can see their last earnings here where they gapped way down, had a big red day. The earnings were bad. Based on the last quarter's earnings, the bar wasn't set very high. So for them to not really hit again, kind of another red flag, and you can see that we're losing this key level of 40 here. And oftentimes anybody that's a longer term investor has breaking points, right, where they have to jump ship. So like you can see this 40 being a key level is breaking. There is going to be some people that are like dying to get out of this. They're like, you know what? I was going to give them one more quarter to see if they made things turn around. They didn't turn it around. It's time to bail. So I think any push back up to 40, maybe even 41 is going to get sold off. I'm looking for 40 as the entry, or, I don't ever just enter right at a number, guys. And if you guys come over to StockTraders.net, you'll see that. We talk about it all the time. Price action has to confirm first, but I definitely would be looking around 40 for this thing to show some signs of sellers. And once we see that, I would be willing to get in and look for pre-market lows as the first target, and then ride the rest to see how far down they want to take it. The next thing on the list, guys, is let's go on to BLCM real quick. So BLCM, let's see if my chart pulls up. Sorry about that. So these guys are gapping up, and they're kind of not extremely strong. I was hoping that they were going to be up around 9 or higher. You see the 200-day up here at 930-ish. You see the big gap down here in January. That was because during the middle of a trial they were running, the FDA put a hold on it because 3 patients had brain issues that were possibly related to the study that they were doing. It wasn't like a guarantee or anything, but the FDA still put a hold on it, and you can see everyone jump ship. Pushed back up, and we kind of sold back off. Nothing had changed in here except maybe some earnings and not a lot of material differences. But the FDA lifted that hold. So I think a push back up to where it was trading before the hold is completely rational. What I'm looking for is this thing to get irrational. I want to see a push above the 200-day, maybe 10x is a site resistance level. I'd actually like to see higher than 10. I would like to see maybe 11. Who knows? We're going to let the price do its thing. Let the stock write the book. We're just going to read what the author writes. That being said, if it offers a trade, I want you guys to know there are a bit of things in the fundamental side of it behind here that might squash this move. They need cash, and they have $150 million shelf that's active. And now that they're going to have to revamp these trials, they're going to need that cash. So it wouldn't surprise me if they do an offering after hours today. But you can't just swing things and be praying for an offering. You need to have a cushion. So what I'm hoping is a push to 11, 12, who knows? Like, let it get crazy, catch the turn, lock profits in at 10, lock profits in at the 200, lock profits in at the peak of the last push, and then be sitting on a partial, and then you can swing. But those are the only conditions under which you can swing. You can't just swing something where your entry is right around closing price and you're just hoping and praying for an offering, because usually when they don't come, that's when you get the after-hours squeeze. That's special. Anyways, that's how we're going to play BLCM. If it doesn't set up, it doesn't set up. I'm sorry. Next thing we're looking at, guys, is IntelliStat. Now, this we went over in the pre-market at the chat room, and I told the guys we dug through their filings. Right, this needs to be played on a technical basis. The filings show they have cash now. There are some issues I have with the filings. They claim that all the numbers in the financials are in thousands, so add 3 zeros to any number. So they're claiming they have just short of $670 million in cash. It's a lot of cash. But then you go on to their statement of cash flows and you see that they are cash flow positive until you look up to the top level and you see, wait, they had a net loss. So how did they flip that around? Well, if everything's in thousands, they wrote down impairment to goodwill of $4 billion. That makes 0 sense to me. And actually, I think that might have been in 2015. I don't have the filings right in front of my face at the moment, but it was just a red flag that maybe the filings aren't actually in thousands, and that was a typo, because they also wrote down about $700 million of depreciation and amortization, which is a red flag. Like, they don't own fleets of airplanes, so nothing should be getting depreciated that much. So to me, it sounds like they actually just aren't really in the thousands. It should just be read the way the numbers are reported. That being said, they would be cash flow negative if it wasn't for the depreciation. But right now, that's why I'm telling the guys in the chat, I'm telling you guys right now on YouTube, you need to play this just on a technical basis. So it's stuffed right at the whole number 7 yesterday. We're going to use that as the level to watch. And you can see on my charts, guys, I have the high of the day, the previous day, and the low of the previous day marked with a yellow and a blue line. I would recommend everybody do that on their charts. Also, the close is a white line. We're going to look for entry somewhere around the previous day's high, and we're going to look to fade this thing, but price action must confirm it first. The next thing on the list, guys, is CHFS, and I just want to make a note. It's gapping up. It's been gapping up and selling off hard this whole last week. Actually, the bigger one was Thursday of last week. Regardless, it's a turd. Let it do turd things. Let it extend. I've located shares. I'm ready to hit this thing if it tells me it's time. But I would actually like to see it get much higher. I'd like to see it take out this 360 area. The pre-market highs back on Thursday. This chart, these moves aren't that big. I would love to see it push into 5. But come over to StockTraders.net, guys, and I'll walk you through those trades if they set up. The only last thing I want to point out, guys, is keep an eye on the Bitcoin crypto market. It's kind of found a bottom. There's a lot of chatter about the possibility of it turning around. If that happens, watch XNet and OSTK. XNet has a nicer chart, but OSTK overstock is, to me, more of a crypto play as far as what most people have pointed out about the fallacies of thinking XNet is one. That's all I got for you guys. I'm going to throw it back to my man Goose. I know he's got something for you. Take it away, buddy.
Hey, thanks a lot, man. Appreciate it. Couple quick things for you. is first of all on Overstock. Love the idea. I'm going to be looking to buy a dip. I'm going to come back to BBBY, but just to show you guys something on the daily here, I could see I'm looking for a push back up on this 40, 41 area. I know I didn't tweet about it or say I was going to cover it, but I'm in with you also on that, especially with the crypto market perking up this morning. I see it's up like 11%, the XBT. So I definitely have an interest there on Overstock. Good job mentioning that, and I'm also on that as well. Also on this BLCM that you had mentioned earlier. Just keep in mind, and just to cover again, what I was looking at is a retrace on this thing from pre-market level is going to put it probably the 50 to 60% area in that 760 to 8 window. And I might be looking at that if it wants to hold that area for a little push and so forth. So you might get both sides of a trade here. So anyway, I just want to mention that as well, that I might be looking at that if it wants to hold that area for a possible little squeeze and a little long there. But switching back to BBBY. This is a tough one because it's just continuing to fade, and I know you guys are following the news, but there's been about 5 upgrade or downgrades and price target cuts on this thing over the last hour and a half or so, and it's just continuing to fade. The only way I'm going to play this thing, I love the fade on this, is every so often in the morning you're going to get that little morning crazy push on this. Now, originally I had already drawn the fibs on this. You could see a 50% retrace would put it back to 1950. Even if this thing approaches 19, it's going to get on my radar. So if we get a little shove or something on this thing at the market open up towards 19 or better, I'm probably going to put a starter on, and then I'll feed into it as it pushes up on 1950 or 20. I definitely want to have a short on this for a late day fade. I think this should be heavy all day long, especially with all the coverage and all the cuts on it. But I'm going to keep mine short. I did a lot of running around this morning with the kiddos, so I just have one for you this morning. I'll be back at it tomorrow morning at 9:05 with you. Stay safe today, and let's have a great day. So back to you, Ricky.
Thanks a lot, Goose. On point. Like the idea on BBBY. It looks like it's actually trying to push right now, so maybe we get our wish. Keep an eye on it, guys. If it sets up, me and Goose will be taking that. Come over to StockTraders.net and get yourself a plan. You know why? Because if you don't have a plan, you don't have a trade. Stay safe out there, guys. Protect your capital. Let's go out there and crush it. Peace.